lives.
Yes.
It's all about practice now. It's all about the more consistency you do something, the easier it gets, right? So,
Right.
hey, Angelina, welcome. We're already live, as you know, so welcome. Thank you for showing up today.
Thank you for inviting me and for having this conversation and inspiring others.
So we decided we're going to start with a couple of practices that we both love, very simple ones, but we're going to start today with a little practice, right?
Right. Yes.
And so should we start with the breath? Do you want to lead a little breath?
Yeah.
Or yeah? And then we go into a little movement. Or go on.
Okay. I thought the other way around.
Okay, let's do it the other way.
First.
Yeah, good. Let's do it the other way around.
Okay.
I like it.
To shake first and then to have a breathing. So you make the shaking and I make the breathing.
Hey, Corinna, our beautiful co-creator is with us live. Hey, beautiful one.
Hi.
So basically one of the main practices that we love, and many others that go on this journey, and one practice that we will be sharing a lot on Naked Retreat is simply shaking. And you may have seen it anywhere. We're just going to do 1 minute of shaking today. Yeah, just simple. And often this can be really strange if you've never done this before. At first it can be a bit like, what am I doing, but when you do this for long periods of time and you start to really bring the monotony of the shaking, it's like a recalibration for your system. And depending on your energy, your life force, it can really move trapped and blocked energy too. So just go along with us. If you're watching this on the replay, just do it. Maybe you already have a shaking practice, but the key is for us today, simple. Keep your feet nice and rooted on the ground, soft knees. Imagine that like energy, a bit like a qigong pose. I don't know if you can see me here, but it's kind of like, soft legs. And we're like really like hands are just hanging down and we're just shaking through the sexual center and imagining the energy is coming up from the ground and coming up and then through the body. And you just let the body naturally start shaking. Yeah. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that for 1 minute. Okay. So just join us in. Here we go.
Here we go.
And just take a few deep breaths to begin. So deep breath in through the nose and out the mouth. And we just keep that breathing going in through the nose and out the mouth. And let's just start shaking together.
Hey.
Laughing is allowed.
Using the voice is allowed.
Keeping the monotony, just shaking everything. The feet, the knees, the sexual center, letting the shoulders flop around. Keep it going, 20 more seconds. If you're with us, keep shaking everything, move it all. Yeah, if you're still with us and you're not just watching us and having fun, then just take a few deep breaths in and just let out some huffs. And then take a deep breath in, big deep breath in. Let the shaking reside now. Take a deep breath in and hold just for a few moments. Come to stillness. Release the breath exactly like Angelina just did. Just allow your body to close your eyes. Come to stillness for a moment. Just keep your eyes closed and just notice what's happening in the body. We just did 1 minute. Notice maybe there's some sweat, maybe there's some tingling sensations. And if you feel like your body needs to just move anything else, like a stretch, or anything your body needs right now. Maybe it needs a little bit of touch. Whoa. And then let us know if you joined us on the comments. So if you just watched us jumping around and shaking our life force. Well, I needed that anyway. That's what I want to say. Thank you, Angelina, for also inspiring that. Do you want to just give us a little breath?
We just keep going, just standing. Just stay in this position, and because you mentioned Qigong, I want to do something connected to the breath, but also to the energetic part of us. The breath is also connected with the energetic part. So we bring the hands in front of our center, like the lower belly where life force resides. Can you see it?
Yeah. I can see. You can put it down a bit. Yeah, exactly. So perfect.
Just bring the hands in front of the life force center, Dantian, the lower Dantian. Breathing into the belly, connecting to your hands, feeling the palms of the hands, and also maybe you can feel tingling, you can feel the energy between the space between your belly and the hands. Just breathe into the belly. And then we bring the energy up and we're breathing up. So we will now go with the hands up, breathing in until to our upper dantian, which is the third eye, and then breathing out and bringing the hands down. And you can take always a breath in between. And then you bring the energy up, you breathe in slowly, holding it for a moment, and breathing out slowly. Taking a breath in between. And I'm breathing up slowly. Holding the energy for a moment and breathing out, bringing the hands down. And the last time, breathing slowly in through the nose. Holding, breathing out. And then you bring one hand on your belly and the other on the other hand, like this. And circling, activating life force clockwise, circling clockwise. If there is any voice, yes, making it really warm here. Can get also big. And then the circle is getting slower and slower, coming back to the center. The thumbs are on the navel. Breathing into the belly. Maybe you can feel now some heat expanding. And then we let go. It's good. Some strokes down the feet, legs. Yes, nice. good. Already
That's
did.
it. That's it. That's
it.
our life. That's our life. It's done.
Ciao, it's done.
Well, yeah, you know what? I'm laughing. I'm sweating so wow. It's hot here today as well.
I also could feel so much heat
Yeah.
generating now in the belly.
Yeah, I'm
Like
super fired
here,
up. Yeah.
sweating, really.
Sweating on the back. Super sweating on the back as well.
Yeah.
Because also we activate the fire. No, it's called
Yes.
stoking the fire, which some call it activating the fire. Wow. So let me know. I love Karina. Karina's like, I'm with you. Yeah, of course. Standard. She's with us. Beautiful. Yeah. So you might even be watching this on the replay. I don't know how many people are with us live today, but like really, it's actually beautiful that we're just doing the practice, two practices today: simple breathing, intentional breathing, and shaking, bioenergetic shaking. And these actually is very simple. We talk about naked, right? But what is naked? Naked is simplicity. And actually, it's very simple to just drop into the body, and it's very simple to just drop into the breath. It's very simple just to drop into being able to shake our emotions, shake our body, move the energy, take responsibility for our life force. It's actually very simple. However, it's also very difficult. Because maybe you want to we just speak to that briefly. What do you feel, Angelina? Because like it's like if we just say to somebody, let's just shake, but go.
I'm fully into this because it's so much resonating with the women's weekend that I just hosted as well. So yeah, we activate the life force, but this is just only the first step. Once we start to activate it, it brings a lot of shit up, and also it activates your heart. So it activates also your inner truth. And this is where I can like relate to this word that we get naked, because it's actually activating so much that it brings out what is there, what is inside. But it also, you get also to be, then you need to have tools to be able then to deal with what comes up. But it will also ask you for changes, or ask you for expression, or ask you for evolution, like for expansion. Once we activate it, you cannot think that you cannot stay in the same state when you activate everyday life force. So I imagine, because I haven't been in a naked retreat with you, but I worked with you a lot, and I trust your work a lot. And I imagine when we do this also 10 days, a lot of things are coming up. But then it's also, I think it's so important also how to be able then to integrate this and to stay with it, and to go with this, how can you say, like with this opening that happens, and being like shedding. Do you say shedding?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And being like real, being naked with what comes up. This is actually what I love, what you love as well. And to find that actually when we are fully transparent with what comes up, like the armor that we are normally having, often a lot of people have this, security based
protection,
yes. And then once it comes up, the truth, like also the parts which we feel are not so beautiful, but also being naked or real about them, but also creating this flow, that it can flow and also be released. But then it's also, and who am I once this part is released, or once this life force gets activated? What does it want? So
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Exactly. It's almost like, or how I'm receiving you is like we're charging up the energy, we're activating the energy, and the energy itself, call it life force, call it creative energy, whatever you want to call
sexual energy.
Sexual energy, exactly, is then moving into the areas that is required for us to actually feel, embrace, look at, allow the release, through the feeling. Because when we start to feel, because this is a great point you bring, like I do shaking for long periods of time. It's like 15 minutes or more. And the longest I've actually just shaken in one journey was about 24 minutes, because I was playing a certain playlist. And it's wild, huh? Like when you start to do 10 minutes of this shaking, like, you know, you go into a trance. Oh, I speak for myself. I go into a trance and I go, and then sometimes, like you said, make voices, but sometimes this primal energy comes out of me. It's like almost like I don't even know. It feels very, I call it primal, but it's like, I can be like, you know, emotion could be moving, tears come, grief comes. It all just starts to come through this open channel that is being activated, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is actually also about being naked, like being fully authentic with this expression and not playing any roles. Like not even, I also want, well, I like to come in with this point, like also about sexuality.
Yes.
Because there is a lot about this, like activating life force, but activating sexual energy, but then not playing a sexual role, like also being fully transparent or naked with what is really, they are not thinking like it has to be like look like that or it has to be sexual like that, but it might be that tears are coming or that you just want to be held or whatever. But there's like a lot of, I feel like I really like there's a lot of ideas also about how it looks like when you are fully open or sexual activated.
Right.
Like,
Beautiful. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So what yeah, actually nice. You're kind of, yeah, you're touching on something else which we could talk for the whole 20 minutes on, but it's beautiful. So yeah, this idea of like we're activating life force energy, sexual energy, and yeah, it's supposed to be a certain way. I'm supposed to look so cool, like the tantric multi-orgasmic
yes,
being. It's like,
yes,
oh, look at me, I'm so cool, you know? I'm so ecstatic all the time and I'm just moving my energy. No, actually it can look bloody messy and ugly and vulnerable, and you're actually broken. Actually, you can be broken.
yes.
Yeah, you know, the energy can come through you, and it can, and this is why many say it's scary. It can actually unblock grief and pain that we've held in ourselves for many years, and then to feel that, to embrace that, the vulnerability, the sensitivity, the fragility that happens when you're broken. You know, I know moments where I've just been like, oh yeah, like what Karina said, let's be gracefully messy. Yeah, I love that. I love that term, gracefully messy. That should be the name of a good workshop, actually. Gracefully messy. I like that. Right? Yeah, because it is. You know, I've known, just the other day I did a breathwork session with Brother Philip, and you know, I'm crying my eyes out. You know, I'm in a room with two of my two good brothers, and I'm crying my eyes out. And you know, I think everybody can agree with me on this. When you're crying your eyes out, I feel like the little boy, the little 5-year-old boy. I feel super vulnerable, super soft, super like when I open my eyes after I've been crying like that for so long, I'm a little bit like at first, you know, there's that like, oh, you know, I've revealed myself. You know, I have a lot of sadness in me and emotion, and when it comes out, I soften, everything softens, and I feel very fragile. And this is what you're talking about. This is what you're pointing to, right?
Yes, right, right.
Yeah.
It's not just like playing an erotic or sexual role, but actually this is also, it's one expression, but there are many expressions that happen when you activate life force. It's not just about being sexual. Or
Yes.
I want to mention it because also like a lot of people think like when you think about naked, it's like connected to sexuality or to
Eroticism.
eroticism, but it's also just being real.
Yeah.
And not just,
Beautiful.
not only erotic is not the only thing, it's one part, but it's also like sitting naked and crying and looking into the eyes of the other person and being there with your biggest wound or whatever. You don't want to interact sexually in that moment, you just want to be seen, for example.
Beautiful.
This is being naked. Or really that the life force energy can also, I had this now also happening to some of my participants of the women's retreat, that actually blocks from the body like can come up or create actually symptoms which are actually not so pleasant in the beginning, but this is what happens. This is real, and you might feel your belly, and you might feel also something that feels unpleasant or some pain in the body. And this is also being real. This is what happens when once we start to activate and blocks are coming up or life force goes into certain parts where normally it was blocked, or you want to, it pushes you to do certain things you
Right.
wouldn't do normally.
Right. Yeah, well,
So
I was just envisioning. Sorry, carry on. You were going to
no,
say
no,
so.
yeah, yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, I I was just jumping in because I'm just thinking about the journeys we've been on together, and you've so courageously allowed me to support you, and you know, it's allowing me to see you in your messy, um, vulnerable, and powerful emotional self,
Yeah,
right? Because you know, you've got so many different emotions going on, and when you're moving through those sticky, challenging, painful experiences that are being triggered by certain scenarios in life, and then being witnessed in that, and voicing what's really going on inside, voicing the things that you don't necessarily, well, many won't want others to know are actually happening inside, going on in the head, coming up in the body. Even if we're, for example, we're doing all this work, like Angelina works with a lot of beings and helps many beings, and of course she needs help and support, right, Angelina?
right,
And so
right.
and so when you're going through that, and I speak for myself too, and we have a certain level of wisdom and tools and skills, and that doesn't mean that we're superior to not feeling our emotions or having the monkey mind going on in our head and all this other jazz, yeah, and all these limited thoughts and feelings that sometimes come up. Anyway, I just felt like voicing that because that's also how we've met. No, that's how
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
connected.
yeah.
But anyway, I
I
know we got time wise, so maybe we have
I
this. Should we
I
check this
saw,
question?
yeah,
Yeah.
check this question. I cannot see it. Can you see it?
Let me see. Let me
Ah,
see.
yeah.
I have a question. Would you like to share one of the tools people can use to deal with what may come up with these practices? Oh, you mean,
It's a
oh,
good
yeah, okay,
point.
beautiful. Do you want to jump in with that? Like, once we've activated the life force through breath, movement, sound, what might be
So
an
actually,
integration tool?
um, so one integration tool is to proceed and to open the body, like for example, in a feminine way, to always like give expression to what is here, what you feel whenever you feel anger, to give expression to the anger, whenever you feel crying, to give expression to crying. I often combine it with music and just moving the body and just giving expression in different ways to what is here, or what you feel through your body, very intuitively, without any without thinking about it, so it can flow. But my understanding was also, and this is why it's like we are all here together to support each other. People think like, okay, I can do it alone, I can do it alone. But often, and also in our, like how we met, I wouldn't be able to do it actually alone. The things that I had to face, and this is what I really want to say nakedly, that once we start to activate the life force, it might be that you need support, that somebody holds space for you or holds you, so you can really open up and be vulnerable. It might be difficult to be alone in this process. This is
Beautiful.
what
Yeah,
I
that's,
experienced. I
yeah.
had a lot of people supporting me in my life. I'm super grateful for this, and this is why I'm doing it also for other people, because I see this is the point. We are not here alone. We are here to co-create and to share and to be guided and to guide and to have support. Like, it's natural, I guess. So one thing is like to also have support and someone who holds you through the process. This is what we are doing, and also sharing.
Yeah, well, that's lovely. I think that's a beautiful. I'd love to hear how Corinna feels this lands for her too, because I know she supports beings too. But what are we all doing? Yes, we're supporting each other. And actually, it's very naked to ask for support. That's what comes up for me. You know, it requires courage and for us to go through that fear or those limited beliefs or thoughts that say that, oh, if I ask for help or support, I'm somehow weak or unworthy, or I can't do this on my own. And there is not, we have never ever in our lives, I speak for myself as always, done anything alone, right? If you really look back at your life and you look at what you've done, what you've achieved, what you've been through from the minute you even come out of the womb, you couldn't even stand up on your own. You couldn't even eat food on your own. You've never been able to do anything on your own without the support of a caretaker, You know, some don't have a mother and father, they have caretakers. And yes, have some of our caretakers abused us and not been able to hold us in the ways that we may have wanted? Yes, that's why we're doing the work. That's why we're doing the work with trauma. That's why we're doing the work with wounding. But we require each other. And that's what Naked is all about. It's about us coming together for these 10 days to hold each other, to co-create a container to hold each other, and then the integration after and the community that continues to do that. So this is beautiful. It's beautiful how this is woven in. So thank you.
And also another thing that I want to mention is when you practice more and more continuously, like you're doing this practice of expressing and being with what comes up, and being able to create a bigger vessel to hold the energy inside yourself, but also to hold the emotions by yourself, like having this activated, this inner masculine inside yourself, the more you can also hold yourself. But it's gradual. So because a lot of women ask me the same thing, and I had to practice a lot that I could be very angry, like go into my full anger, being alone in that, and also hold it, like not feeling overwhelmed by it to a certain point. So it's also by practicing, we are also coming to the point to be more self-empowered, to be able to be with intense emotions. And in the same time, when I came to a very vulnerable point, where I couldn't hold myself, I had you, for example. So this is like the balance. So we also want to come to a point where we are self-empowered,
sovereignty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is why, like, for me, the practice works like this, also meditation, but also the feminine practice, to be able to hold myself in that. But then also
Beautiful.
being able to understand when you need support, and when it's so fragile, or you feel you cannot hold yourself, that you take support. So there are these two different things, practicing and taking support.
Yeah, beautiful. And knowing which one is required. And I think maybe it's lovely we're going to finish up now. Yeah. Thank you. I think this was beautiful. We both came on and we were, we're like, okay, what we're going to talk about. And for those that are watching, if you've got this far, thank you so much. Angelina hasn't been to Naked the Retreat. She's joining the Naked Retreat Rebirth. And she's going to be experiencing Naked to come into that, and at the same time bring some of her gifts simultaneously into the field, so that can create this cultivation. And that is really what the rebirth of Naked is all about. We're now coming together with the members of the community that are helping to co-create this experience, and that's how the expansion is taking off. So there's going to be many other opportunities in 2024. We're looking at a facilitator training. We're looking at a longer year-long immersion, so that we can take people on a deeper integration process. And the Naked Retreat is a kind of 10-day immersion gathering taster of the potential of you being soul empowered, super empowered, self-empowered. And I love, Corinna wanted a little bit of distinction here, and just about in order to, I think you covered it beautifully, but in order to bring myself back to presence. So I'm just going to say, as we began today, breath, movement, and sound. And, whatever that looks, and touch. Thank you for that fourth one. Breath, movement, sound, and touch. And sometimes, like, we all share an array of different practices. Like if you recently jumped on my 23-day self-loving practices, you would know. I mean, I'm giving 23-day different practices, and I have another 23 on top of that I can't even fit into that 23 days of different ways that we can be with ourselves, integrate ourselves. It can be writing, it can be going for a walk in nature, it can be gentle breathing, different breathing patterns that relax the nervous system. As Angelina said, it can be gentle touch, or as she described, freedom of expression, putting on a few of your favorite songs and just allowing yourself to drop out of the head and into the body. Yeah, there's so many little different variations that you find for yourself by going into yourself. And the last thing I say on this, and you can finish us off, Angelina, is each of you have the answer and the wisdom that you need, really. But to be given the permission to be with yourself and listen to yourself, to listen to that inner wisdom, that voice beyond the inner critic, beyond the one that's judging you and thinking you're not good enough or unworthy, beyond the one that is comparing themselves to everything outside of themselves. Beneath that, beneath those distortions and those smoky mirrors, you know what you want, you know what you need, and you know how to transform yourself beyond. However, as Angelina so beautifully said, we are here all walking each other home and helping each other to see beyond those distortions. And that's what Naked is all about too. Please, if you have anything to add to that, that's what, well, you're just laughing.
That was perfect. I cannot add anything. There was everything in it.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. Thank you, Angelina, loving this co-creation. Thank you, beautiful Corinna, for just bringing her fire and showing up every week with these live calls.
Sweet.
Yeah, and if you've jumped on this on the live replay, you can connect to me and Angelina anywhere. Corinna's here. There's a little team of us at the moment. We're all like involved in the Naked Rebirth. Jump onto the website if you want to join us, either in Portugal or Sicily or in South Africa. And whether you do or whether you don't, shake. Shake it up.
Shake, move.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you, love. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.